Hey, what's up YouTube? It's Slow. Thank you guys for tuning in once again. I'm going to be doing another book review today. Last one I did was over Letter to the Church by Francis Chan. So I wanted to make sure I did another one, and it just helps me remember what I just read, because when you start reading a lot of books, you gotta blend them all together. So this was a really great read. I'm going to be talking about why I love the Apostle Paul, 30 Reasons by John Piper. John Piper is one of my favorite preachers, authors. He does a lot of things. Been a huge influence on my life, and outside of the Bible, there's not been many authors who have taken me to the intimacy and closeness with Christ other than him. And I feel like he really led me on to a lot of deeper theology thoughts that I hadn't looked at before. So I'm a huge Piper fan, and I'll try not to be too biased, but I'm definitely a Piper fan. For those of you who are just tuning into the channel, I am an indie artist out of Indiana. I would love for you guys to check out some of my songs. I'll put the links below. Got a couple hip hop type songs out there. One song with the Mr. John Keith. You guys are probably familiar with him by now. He's a CHH rapper. So go check out that stuff. I'll put all the links below. And also, if you want to get any of these videos earlier, or if you want to just check out music before drop it, be sure to sign up for Patreon. You can sign up for just a little bit of money, and then I send out songs every week and a bunch of updates, and I'll let you guys help me decide on what I'm going to do next for my path in music. So recently my reading slowed down. I took a full-time job as a teacher. I was supposed to be English, got switched over to history. Loving it. Love being at school, love just getting to talk to kids, helping them learn. But my readings definitely had to take a back seat over the past 2 months, but I'm finally settled in, and now I'm back into it full time. And I just finished up Why I Love the Apostle Paul, 30 Reasons by John Piper. And this book is, I would highly recommend it. And I feel like I'm going to start saying that because I feel like I really only pick books I think I'm going to like. And there's definitely books, you guys can't see, but there's definitely books over there in my bookshelf that I'm definitely not super stoked on, but this is one of them. If you've read a lot of Piper stuff, you know that John Piper is, he can't speak highly enough about Paul. And so basically what this book is, it's a summary of everything he's talked about in his other books about Paul in one book. And so some people that could be, I looked at that at first as a con, because I was like, I've read this stuff before. I've read a lot of these chapters very similarly, a lot of similar things in these chapters I've read before through his other books like Desiring God and Don't Waste Your Life. Anytime he references Paul, there's a lot of stuff in this book that he's referenced in other books. But what he puts in one paragraph in those books and makes it one paragraph turns into 3 pages, and it gets way deeper. And that's what I loved about it, because I've always related more to Paul than anyone else in the Bible, and having John Piper's interpretation of some of the ways that Paul is talking to the people of the churches, and this really helped me open up to one, how just an amazing life that Paul lived, and the kind of faith it takes to live that life. And it was very encouraging. Definitely don't think we give Paul enough credit. If I had to pick something I wasn't crazy about the book, it's probably because it's not long enough. And I think this book would be the best as a devotional type. It makes you feel like you're blowing through it, because the chapters, compared to a usual John Piper book like Desiring God, where it's 15 pages per chapter, this is a page and a half, and you're on to the next chapter, because it's 30 reasons. And I think if you broke that into 30 days, it'd be a really good set for devotionals. I use some of his other books like Seeing and Savoring Jesus Christ as devotionals. So I could really see that being applied to this, but I got this and I wanted to get right to it and read it all the way through very quickly, and I did that, and I'm thankful for that, because it's been a huge blessing. And I've been telling other people, get this book as soon as you can. If you're a John Piper fan, and if you're a person who relates to Paul or wants to know more about the Apostle Paul, this is a great place to start. Not only is it historical about Paul and some of his Jewish upbringings, but it also just talks about the heart and how we can look into the way he writes, the way he came up with poetry, as well as he came up with some harsh instructions to the Christian churches at the time. We can see the heart behind the man. And John Piper always says in these books, he credits, other than Jesus, the thing he credits more to his faith is Paul. And one of the reasons why he's so why he is so sure of his faith in Christ is because of how confident Paul was in his relationship with Christ. And so that's it's a very encouraging book. I would definitely check it out. Anything that Crossway puts out is usually a solid read. And I am just like, I can't speak highly enough of John Piper and what he's helped open my eyes to over the years in my walk with Christ. Pros about this book, once again, you're going to read it super quickly if you pick this up. The chapters make you feel like you're just speeding through it because they're so short. It is 30 chapters, 30 reasons, but it feels like a very quick read. I said that about Letters to the Church. Letters to the Church, I picked it up and I finished it in a day. This is another one of those kind of books where you're going to pick it up and you're going to just blow right through it. It's not, some of Piper's books, he gets super, there's a lot of exegesis, a lot of breakdowns of huge bits of theology. This is more like just it's a biography, but it's also a look at the text, but it doesn't go quite as deep as some of his other books. And I think that can be definitely positive for some people. I think my biggest problem with getting into John Piper books when I was younger was I didn't understand a lot of the terminology, and there seemed like a big learning curve. This is a great, I feel like, intro book to some of Piper's work. And obviously start at the Bible, but once you want to start like a companion book to kind of get somebody else's, people have commentaries in their Bibles. These are just like other commentaries about certain things. And as long as you trust that these preachers are following God's will, it's always a good idea. I can't say any higher words about John Piper than that. I would definitely encourage you to check this book out. I'll read some of my favorite parts. Page 37, it says, Paul tells of a time when his faith was put to the test in a way that brought him to the brink of despair and death. And then he reads 2 Corinthians 1 through 8:10, and it says, 3 things are remarkable here. First is the severity of his suffering. We felt that we received the sentence of death. Second here is the purpose of the design of the suffering. That was to make us rely not on ourselves, but on God who raises the dead. Third, the purpose was God's purpose. It could not have been Satan, since Satan certainly does not want Paul to rely on God. So the truth that Paul believed about his suffering, no matter how severe, was that it came ultimately with God's purpose, and the purpose was that Paul would trust himself less and trust God more every moment of his life, especially as death approached. Romans 8:28 reminds us that God is working things out for those who are called according to his purpose and according to his will. And a lot of times we think when we're going through trials, we're going through desperation at times, and just these hard times, we always think it's attack from Satan. A lot of times we don't look at it the way Paul looked at it here. If we were a child of God, there's certain things we're going to go through that God may be designing, putting us through so we can get to something. And ultimately, he has a plan. Whether that plan makes sense in our mind or whether that plan is good in our eyes does not change the fact that it is good in his. And how we react to that, how we react to those situations tells a lot about our faith. And we see Paul here over and over again in the worst times of his life, like Philippians 4:13, the worst times of his life, he's able to say, I can do all things in Christ who strengthens me. When he's sitting in jail, he's able to say, I can do all things to Christ who strengthens me. He's learned how to be content, whether he's hungry, whether he's full. That verse was never about him shooting a three-pointer. That verse was never about him winning the lottery or, anything like that. Obviously, I'm just saying that we see that in culture a lot. That verse taken out of context. I do believe that God can make those things happen, obviously. But what Paul's talking about when he wrote that was that in the worst times of his life, he's still able to point back to Christ, that his glory, that his Christ's exaltation is worth more than his suffering, and it's worth his suffering. Hopefully that made sense. Sometimes I just ramble on. Yeah, I would definitely encourage you guys to put it up. I'll put some Amazon links up there. I'll put the Desiring God link up there because that's where I ordered it from, I believe. Always just get their stuff. And if you didn't notice about Desiring God, that's John Piper's kind of like where he puts all his stuff, and where he's got a bunch of other writers on there, a bunch of great guys who write on there as well. But there's probably like, Piper's written like 70 books or something like that, probably way more, and I don't want to discredit him. But there's half of those books are available for free on the website. If you go to desiringgod.com, if you just go to the book section, go to download, it'll give you an option for a PDF, and if you have like an iPad or just your phone, you can pull that right up, and you can even move it to your books app. So like I have so many books. I like hard copies. I like the texture. I think there's some weird stuff behind it. I think if you remember how a book feels, how the book smells, I think all that stuff plays into helping you remember it. But if you can get a free book, just for free, and you can get that many of them, don't waste the excuse of I don't have any money. Go get some of the books on there. They're an amazing resource, and I think they're going to really help you look at the Bible differently and in a better light. So I highly encourage you. Thank you guys for continuing to watch these videos, support. Make sure you hit the subscribe button down below. And I'll be doing another one of these very soon. Thank you.